Hi there, my magical star beings. This is Psychic Siren Tarot, and welcome to the channel. In today's reading, we're going to be taking a look at how has their perspective of you changed. So take a look at all three piles we have with whatever person you have in mind and pick whichever one you are most drawn to based off that. So for pile number 1, we have orange calcite with the card masculine/feminine. For pile number 2, we have rose quartz with the Queen of Pentacles. And for pile number 3, we have agate with the card destiny. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to pick a pile, pick whichever one you are most drawn to. Once you are done picking a pile, please find the timestamps for your pile in the description box below, and then I'll see you at your reading. Hi there, my pile number ones. If you chose this orange calcite crystal in the card masculine/feminine, then this is your reading. We're going to be taking a look at how has their perspective of you changed. So please be aware that this is a general reading, only take what resonates, leave the rest. If you find yourself enjoying this reading, then please consider hitting the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with what I post daily. Also, I do have a limited amount of space for personal readings, so if you'd like to book with me, you can find my email address in the description box below. So I'm going to start out by pulling the tarot cards, and on this side I'm going to find out the past, like how they viewed you before, what changed over here, and then over here how their perspective has changed, their new perspective of you. So let's go ahead and shuffle your cards. So spirit guides of pile number 1, their perspective of pile number 1 before, for the person on their mind, please. Okay, so we have the 9 of Pentacles, and we have the Self, which is quite interesting. I'll tell you what I see in a minute. What has changed in their perspective? I feel this card, Queen of Air, Queen of Swords. And how has their perspective of pile 1 changed? What has changed in their perspective of pile 1? We have intuition. And we have knowledge. Okay. So it seems like this person has always viewed you and has had a loving perspective of you always. They've never had a negative perception of you. So that's one thing I see right off the bat. This person feels very connected to you. I believe for a lot of you, this is a twin flame connection. And, you know, a lot of people don't believe in twin flame connections or have a misperception of twin flame connections. But what I'm talking about here is not an unhealthy connection where, you know, you're just hurting each other. I'm talking about a twin flame connection where you mirror parts of yourselves to each other and you bring a deep healing to each other through that, a transformational experience to each other through that. That is what the twin flame connection is about, bringing healing and a transformation to each other. And it's not an intentional thing. Okay, so you two may have triggered each other to the max. And, you know, although this person had a loving perspective of you, there were triggers. I can acknowledge that. So how has this person's perspective of you changed? Firstly, I think they're starting to become more aware of what your connection truly is, the spiritual nature behind your connection. With the intuition card here, it's mostly coming from their intuition. So even if this person's not spiritual, even if they don't know about twin flames, then maybe in their mind they're thinking that this is a soulmate connection or something along those lines, because this person feels like they're starting to get intuitive knowledge on the spiritual nature behind your connection and what your connection is meant to teach the both of you. And I think this person's having realizations of why you're in their life, the purpose you have in their life, what you're teaching them, what you're showing them, who you're helping them become. So how has their perspective of you changed? They have started to see a lot of themselves in you. They're starting to see you as the other version of them in human form. A mirror of them. They're starting to realize that you two may not be so different after all, that you two have a lot of similarities. And they see a lot of themselves in you. And essentially what I see here is previously maybe this person could have seen certain traits of yours and denied that they were like that too. But now, after much consideration, thinking, knowledge, the knowledge they've received of how they've grown, they're starting to grasp and understand this more. They couldn't understand it before because they didn't have the knowledge or the wisdom prior to this to have an understanding of this. But now that they've grown a little bit and they have the knowledge to understand what's going on here, things are starting to fall and click into place in their minds. So this person is starting to see parts of you that they once denied were parts of them. They're starting to realize that they are like that too. So example of this energy to try explain this. Let's say I have a friend and let's say I get triggered by this friend's perfectionistic tendencies. And I'm like, I am not like that. Like I'm the opposite of that. Like I'm just this go with the flow person. I don't want things to be perfect. But later on, as I start to get to know myself better and go within, I realize, whoa, maybe we're perfectionistic in different ways. Maybe I am a little bit perfectionistic, and maybe me thinking I'm not like them was a part of me that was triggered that didn't want to acknowledge that within myself. Maybe me being triggered by that trait they had was me running away from it in myself. Maybe we both have perfectionistic tendencies, but we express it in different ways. Maybe she expresses it through her work or school, but maybe I express it through my relationships. That is an example of the energy. So this person, the more they're starting to get to know themselves and become aware of themselves, understand themselves, the more they understand you and the more their perspective of you changes and becomes more real, if that makes sense, more truthful. So I can't tell you exactly what it is definitively for you. I think it's different for all of you, but I think this person is starting to see parts of themselves in you, like I said previously, starting to see that this is a deeper soul connection. This isn't just a coincidence. This may be something that was meant to happen to bring soul growth to both of you. And this is what their intuition is telling them. So how's their perspective of you changed? I see them seeing you as... They saw you in the past as like very grounded, very anchored in who you are. Very much knowing yourself. Being comfortable with yourself. They saw you in the past as someone that was very giving and selfless. They saw you in the past as someone that wants to grow, someone that wants to find enlightenment and get to know themselves on a deeper level, but also get to know other people on a deeper level. They saw you as someone that always offered them care, always listened to them whenever they needed someone to listen to them. They saw you as somebody that helped them mourn or grieve something or heal from something. And they saw you as very sweet, because I'm smelling bubblegum. But it's like, you know how you can eat bubblegum, but like if you stick it to something, it sticks? It's like this person felt like you stuck to them in a way, but in a good way, where they didn't want to let you go. They wanted you to be like attached to the hip to them, if that makes sense. But I feel like what changed here in their perspective of you with the Queen of Swords is maybe you have started to become more of this person that sets boundaries. Maybe you have started saying no more, have started advocating for yourself more. So in the past, they saw you as a giver. And maybe some of you had people-pleasing tendencies where you neglected yourself trying to give to others. And now something has changed within you, which has changed their perspective of you, where maybe now you're starting to speak your truth more. You're starting to speak about hard things in relationships that you used to never speak about out of fear. You're starting to say no more, advocate for yourself more. Not only take care of you, but take care of others too, and have a balance and equilibrium there, where you're not being selfish or selfless, but both are important. We can't give endlessly to others if we don't give to ourselves first, because we can't pour from an empty cup, like that saying goes. So this is what's changed their perspective of you, where maybe at first it triggered them a little bit when you did set boundaries and gave a little bit less when you needed the extra energy for yourself, or you needed some time for yourself. It confused them, but now they're starting to understand when they look at themselves and maybe they don't want to do something, or they don't have the energy to do something, or they say no. Then they start to understand, okay, I get where pile number one's coming from. When they kind of put themselves in your shoes and go through situations where they have to speak up too. So what I'm trying to say here in terms of how their perspective of you has changed, the reason why they're viewing you in this more understanding type of way, where they're understanding you more and putting themselves in your shoes, is because they're maybe going through similar circumstances where they have to do the same, and then they understand where you came from when you did that, if that makes sense. So now they're starting to view you in their perspective of you as somebody that is kind, generous, giving, but has self-love and knows yourself, trying to get to know yourself, trying to express yourself as who you are and be authentic, and find people that you can rely on too, that give to you too, that reciprocate your love. Now you're trying to find people you can be yourself around, where you don't have to hide parts of yourself, where you can be yourself freely, express your emotions freely, express your truth freely, and who you are deep down. So now they're viewing you as somebody that has grown, has gained more knowledge and wisdom, has connected to yourself more spiritually. Maybe their perspective of you has changed because they also have started growing spiritually and connecting to themselves on a deeper level and understanding themselves better. So now they're also viewing you like that. The Six of Swords is at the back of the deck, which is indicating a change that has happened. For both of you, of course. So now I'm going to get your oracle cards. So, I don't know, I'm seeing that quote that is like something along the lines of, this person's a lot to handle, but that's why I have both hands. So, your connection to this person isn't easy. It's taken a lot of you both getting outside of your comfort zone to try and learn and grow. And change isn't easy. It takes a lot of dedication. So respect to that. But this person knows that this connection isn't the easiest, but it brings the most rewards. So, I'm hearing more risks, more rewards. So this connection has a high risk to this person. That's how their perspective of you has changed, where it's like a risk to fall in love with you, because this person can fall very fast or very hard for you. And if it's not a romantic connection, then take it in the way you want. Like, this person has maybe gotten very attached to you emotionally or something like that. But I see an energy like that where it's like, if something were to end between the two of you, it really would break this person's heart. And that's the risk that's involved here. But the reward is so much bigger than that. And that's something they definitely want. Not that they're just looking for the reward with you, but they are looking to have a happy, beautiful connection with you. And to them, it's worth it. So that's something I see. So, how has this person's perspective of pile number 1 changed? We have sacral chakra with core of creation. We have either with the seamless unspeakable. I'm hearing a ringing in my left ear faintly. And we have the violet flame. What's interesting here is I'm noticing a dragon here as well as here. And there's feathers here and birds here. So those may be significant spiritual meanings to look into. Also, the butterfly is here, which is a symbol of transformation. The snake is a symbol of transformation. And to me, the bird is making me think of freedom. And the dragon always makes me think of someone that's extremely powerful. Cats here are independence and also boundaries. And the spider web is the point of creation, and we have core of creation here. So basically what I'm seeing here to tie all that together is this person has changed their perspective of you, where they're now seeing you as a lot more powerful. You're in your power. They're now seeing you as somebody that's creating your reality from a place of consciousness, where you're not just like letting someone else be in the driver's seat of your life. You are getting behind that wheel and creating for yourself independently. You're taking the steps you want towards your dream life. And it might not be in the physical yet, but it is manifesting behind the scenes for you. So maybe this person's perspective of you has changed because you're changing, where you are becoming more in control of your life. You are becoming more powerful. You're becoming more free. You're not worrying as much about how other people are reacting to you, and you're just being yourself more authentically, more unapologetically. Their perspective of you has changed in the sense of you becoming more sexier the more they understand you. If this is romantic. If not, it's like you're becoming more appealing to them the more they understand you. They're receiving you a lot better, reacting to you in a much better way because they're beginning to understand you and themselves more. And also a healing has been taking place where what once triggered them isn't blocking their perspective the way it used to. So I see this person having this perspective change of you where they see you as someone now that is open to receiving and giving and having a balance and equilibrium between that, where your connections seem to become more harmonic. Because there's a balance between giving and receiving. And of course, relationships aren't always completely balanced, like I'm giving 50, you're giving 50. It always varies. There are ebbs and flows within that, but you're also becoming more comfortable with receiving. Maybe in the past you couldn't, or something blocked you from that until you healed it. And they're seeing you as much more enlightened. They're seeing you as much more in touch with your emotions and expressing them freely without like hiding them, if that makes sense. And maybe they're even seeing you become more passionate about life. So I think a lot of this has come from both of your spiritual growth and both of your healing and finding enlightenment. So this is what I have for you, pile number 1. I really hope this reading resonated with you. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hi there, my pile number 2s. If you chose this rose quartz crystal and the Queen of Pentacles, then this is your reading. We're going to be taking a look at how has their perspective of you changed. So please be aware that this is a general reading. Only take what resonates, leave the rest. If you happen to find yourself enjoying this reading, then please consider hitting the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with what I post daily. Also, if you'd like to book a personal reading with me, I do have a limited amount of space available for this month, so you can find my email address in the description box below. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to shuffle your tarot cards. Then after that, we'll look at your oracle cards. On this side, I'm going to look at the past. This is how things have changed in the middle. And then on this side, we're going to take a look at how, like, what their perspective of you is right now. Okay, so let's shuffle your cards. Okay, so Spirit Guides of pile number 2. Spirit Guides of pile number 2. May we please tap into the person on their mind's energy. Their perspective of pile number 2 before. So we have the hero, quite interesting. And we have desire. And how is their perspective of pile 2 changed? We have the 9 of Wands. Ah, I see. Okay. And then what is their perspective of pile 2 now? We have the 4 of Swords. And we have the 4 of Pentacles. At the back of the deck, we do have the King of Swords. So what I heard from Spirit is this person has always seen you as somebody that is in touch with your heart space. This person has always seen you as this loving, romantic person. A nurturing person that is very loyal, is what I'm hearing. This person has always seen you as somebody that is gentle and soft. Yet like a rose, you also have your thorns. You also have the harder parts of you that protect you. So what I mean by that is you have a gentle side to you, yet you also have this tough side to you that it's like Spirit is comparing you to a superhero, right? You know how like Spider-Man can be very tough where he fights crime and he fights those individuals that are trying to cause bad things to happen in the town. And then Spider-Man maybe also has a sensitive side to him where he's also trying to save people that are in need. He's not just fighting crime just to fight crime. Like he's trying to save somebody out of a place of empathy from his heart and love from his heart, out of care for people. You know what I mean? So Spirit is using that as a metaphor to try to describe how this person views you, how they've always viewed you. Like you have gentle sides to you and then you have a rougher, tougher side to you, but not that hurts others, but that protects you, but also maybe that you're very protective over the ones you love. So that's something I see. Like, let's say someone had to hurt a little sibling of yours. If you have siblings, like you'd protect that person a lot. Like you'd show a different side of yourself, a more tougher side. And that's how they perceive you. Even if you don't have younger siblings, I'm just using that as an example. They've always seen you as somebody that is very humble. And like very down to earth, right? But I'm seeing the solar plexus energies and I'm actually seeing something to do with your human design chart. So maybe look into your human design chart and what type of person you are there. I don't know what to call it. I don't know that much about it, but I have heard some things about it. Like I know that I'm a manifesting generator. There's different types of energies there. So maybe look into that because that could kind of like contribute to how they see you. So yeah, I see them. What I'm trying to say here is I see them maybe not seeing you as somebody that took much, what's the word, credit for the things you've done. So maybe you've achieved a lot of things, but you've always been humble about it. You haven't taken much credit or given yourself the pat on the back that you deserved. Or maybe you didn't view it as that big of a deal. And it's not just achieving things, like it's the person you've grown into today. You haven't taken much pride in that. But I see this person's perspective of you changing, where maybe you are trying to become more confident in yourself, where maybe you are trying to be like, yes, I deserve that win. You know, I worked hard for it. I deserve it. I deserve to celebrate it and for the people around me to be happy. I don't have to like water down my answer or my reaction to that to seem humble, you know? So maybe you're taking up more space. Maybe lately you have been like being less mean to yourself when you make mistakes. My voice went weird there. When you make mistakes, so maybe that's something hard for you to talk about. And the green here is shining, which makes me think of you still being in touch with your heart chakra, still being in touch with your heart, but learning to give that love to yourself as well. So a self-love is taking place here in your energy that this person's currently seeing, and their perspective is changing of you because of that. So in the past, they always saw you as somebody that tries to save others, that tries to help others always. Maybe you even work in a career where you help people overcome problems of their own with the Nine of Wands. You desire to help people from the kindness of your heart. You genuinely do. But maybe you've also tried to save people that don't want to be saved. Because I'm hearing that, this is kind of funny. I'm hearing that song, Don't Save Her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. Not the fact that you're saving them. That's funny. Just that song. So there's something about that coming through. But something about that's changed where maybe you realizing that not everybody wants your help, and instead of trying to help everybody else, why don't we try work on ourselves and give that energy to ourselves? Because sometimes we give advice to people we love and they don't always take it. And that's okay. You know, they don't have to. We can't control them. We can't control their decisions or actions. And if someone we love makes bad decisions for themselves, even if we try to help, we can't always force them to make good decisions. You know what I mean? So you're putting less focus on helping and saving others, but rather saving yourself. Then as a result of that, you start to inspire others and naturally save them without doing the work for them. So I hope that makes sense, but that's how this person's perspective of you is changing. Because you're no longer focused on trying to save others, but you're focused on trying to help yourself. So maybe you've always been that friend that helps people solve their problems, that listens to people, you know, when they're going through challenging moments and tries to give them advice or just offers a helping hand or a listening ear. But maybe you've stopped doing that, not entirely, but stop being as involved in other people's problems and start focusing on how to sort of like bring solutions to your own problems, how to grow as a person, and then eventually you start walking the walk instead of talking the talk. And then eventually you're not focusing on helping others, but helping yourself. And then as a result of that, other people start getting inspired by you, people that want to change, and then they start following your lead. So as a result of that, you started becoming more of a leader without trying to force that help or change on others. So that's what this person's noticing. Like, that's how their perspective of you has changed. Because you're changing yourself. So over time we start to change, over time we start to learn things. And I think you found peace with yourself, even through things that you can't control. Because sometimes we have problems in life that we can't control, you know, the outcome of. And what this person is noticing is you're no longer trying to control outcomes of things you can't control. Because that will just make you, sorry for like saying this, but it will just make you go crazy. I can't find a better term or word to use. But that's what I see. You're also no longer holding on to the things that went wrong in your life, the problems in your life, the things that hurt you, because you're seeing how that is. So Spirit is showing me a metaphor for something. Let's say you are a character in a movie, And your background story was all these trials and tribulations. You're not holding on to that or letting that stop you from living right now and having peace right now, but instead taking that as your background story that made you into the person you are today, that made you stronger, that made you more wise. And now that those problems of the past aren't having control over you, and you are in control of how you react to that, where you're focusing on the present moment and creating now. Not focusing on what went wrong in the past, but acknowledging it and saying, yes, things went wrong in the past, but I can change my future. I can bring in my desires and I can save myself. I don't have to wait around for anyone else to save me, for the universe to save me, for God to save me. I can save myself by taking action right now. So that's how this person's perspective of you has changed. You've become a lot more stable emotionally. You've become more stable physically. Maybe you've been building your own sense of stability, creating a safe space for yourself in your body. If some of you have been dealing with anxiety a lot in the past, you've been creating a safe space for yourself to be present in your body. So there's something about that coming through, healing the nervous system. Maybe you've become a lot more calmer, a lot more peaceful, focusing less on the worries and the anxieties and the future, but more so focusing on now. And if those anxieties keep persisting, you rather focus on how you can bring in the outcome you do want than focusing on those worries. That doesn't change anything, you know? Just worrying doesn't change anything, doesn't change the future. So might as well do what prevents that worry from happening. So that's what I see. So we're going to take a look at your oracle cards now. Another thing I want to say before we do that is this person has always desired a person with qualities like you. And they find you very beautiful inside and out, regardless of your gender. There's just something about you, and this person will always love who you are as a person. This person will always love these traits that you have. This person is maybe a little bit different from you. I see them being a very logical person. I see them being someone that doesn't really focus too much on others, but I see them being very different from you. But I see them appreciating those traits you have, nonetheless. So let's see what else comes out. Lots of Capricorn energy coming through. Random message, but it is Aries to Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius. So how has their perspective of pile number 2 changed? So we have the card Home. How has their perspective of pile 2 changed? Loving compassion, crystal keys, and you have an extra card with stepping through. So maybe you have finally stepped through. So Spirit is showing me like a portal. Let's say at one point in your life you felt stuck. Imagine yourself at a portal and this portal's locked and it's like, I've done everything I've needed to get to the next step, but I'm stuck here. It's like I can't get to the next step. This door's locked. How do I step through this door to this new beginning? When I'm stuck here and I feel like I've done everything I needed to, but a door isn't opening yet, physically yet, right? So I hope that makes sense. So think of it like this. You are wanting some kind of change in your life, wanting some kind of new beginning to take place, a new door to open for you, but you almost feel like it's not opening and you've done everything you needed to step through that door, but it's like Spirit is almost making you self-reflect and do little last tweaks on everything else you needed to work on in order to step through that door to the new beginning. And now you have done all that little work, all the little tweaks of things you just needed to sort of acknowledge or learn from. Especially to do with your emotions with crystal keys. Like you've been doing a lot of healing on yourself, finding healing through the triggers, through your emotions, learning what those emotions are trying to teach you, since every emotion teaches us something. And you've been learning to have more compassionate for yourself, loving yourself more. And by loving yourself, you are no longer placing so much value on what other people do with their lives, but more so doing the things for yourself that will get you your dream life that you do desire. So it's not so much about focusing on what other people are doing, but yourself. And that's where the perspective shift comes. This person has seen you heal yourself, become more loving and compassionate to yourself, become less harsh and mean to yourself and less critical of yourself, and you finally solved that problem, or you are slowly solving that problem bit by bit. And even with the hearts here, it's like I see you just giving love to yourself, pouring into yourself, uplifting yourself the way you would a friend. And it's like your heart has gotten much bigger. With the home card, since we see a big heart here, but you've also found home within yourself. You've also found a sense of belonging within yourself. You're no longer seeking to belong within a group of people, but seeking to feel like you belong within this body, and that's your home, you know? So there was a self-love awakening that took place here, and as a result of you loving yourself more, you have found peace, you have found your heart becoming bigger, where you're capable of loving others more too, where you're capable of seeing others on a deeper level because you've seen yourself on a deeper level. So that is what I see here. It's like you had people put the crown on your head and you're like, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve this. And now you're finally putting that crown on your head and you're like, I do deserve this. So there's something about feeling worthy of the things you desire. Truly. So this is what I see in your reading pile too. This is how this person's perspective of you has changed. I really hope this reading resonated with you. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hi there, my Paloma threes. If you chose this agate crystal and the destiny card, then this is your reading. We're going to be taking a look at how has their perspective of you changed. So please be aware that this is a general reading. Only take what resonates, leave the rest. If you find yourself enjoying this reading, then please consider hitting the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with what I post daily. Also, if you'd like to book a personal reading with me, I do have a limited amount of space available, so you can find my email address in the description box below. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with your tarot cards first, then after that we'll move on to your oracle cards. On this side, I'm going to find out how they viewed you previously, what changed over here, and then on this side we're going to find out, how they see you now. So let's get started. Firstly, before we shuffle your cards, I want to say there are ancestral energies coming through within this pile. So your ancestors are present and the person on your mind's ancestors are present. And this is actually something I've seen in readings before, in some of my readings about a specific person, where there's always one pile where I get the message that your ancestors brought you two together, that you and this person were meant to meet, you were destined and fated to encounter each other and meet and find each other in this lifetime, as you have in many other lifetimes. You and this person are both ancestral cycle breakers, so you are the chosen one within your family line, the one that is very powerful in your family line to break those ancestral cycles and pass down new cycles that are much more loving. So you are working on becoming a better version of yourself, but not only that, aligning to your soul path and destiny, your purpose, and also you're focused on not repeating the same mistakes your parents once made and your grandparents and great-grandparents and so on, and changing that, bringing change to the family line. These are ancient ancestors that are coming through. Very ancient ancestors with so much wisdom. So they are the ones giving these messages here. Let's go ahead and shuffle your cards now. So this is a highly spiritual connection, and I'm sure both of you know it. You feel it intuitively. You don't need me to tell you that. Like you know this. This is what Spirit is telling me. So, how did they view? Okay, Spirit Guides of Pile number 3, Spirit Guides of Pile 3, Ancestors. How did this person on their mind view Pile number 1 before? We have the King of Swords. We have the Ten of Wands. I'm hearing that song by, I think it's Bruno Mars. Like, it goes like, I think I want to marry you. That's so cute. So, if you're asking about a love relationship, it's like this person has always seen themselves marrying you or committing to you. And if it's not a romantic connection, this person has always seen themselves living life with you and growing old with you in a way, having many, many happy years with you that are celebratory and being loyal to you till the end. They've always seen you as like a consistent part of their life, a person they see a future with. So that's what I see here. They've always seen you as someone that has so much passion for life. They've always seen you as this type of person that brightens up everybody else's day and that, brings joy to everybody else you encounter. You're like a ball of sunshine in human form. Though, I'm seeing Maddie from Euphoria, and I remember watching a video where someone said, I think it was a video I watched, I'm not really sure. I think someone said she was like being that sunshine for others, but no one was being it for her. Was it her? I don't really know, but maybe you can relate to that. Regardless of if that is true or correct, what I said with the vision, but there's something about you being sunshine for everybody else, but nobody has been that for you. This person has always seen you as somebody that is quite self-assured, independent, and also a little bit feisty in a good way, a little bit sassy in a good way. They've always seen you as somebody that's charismatic and bold, very much in your power, very authentic to you. They've always seen you as like somebody that can be yourself in public comfortably, without worrying what other people think. They've always seen you as somebody that has like this naturally likable and lovable personality, where if anybody dislikes you, there's something wrong with them. Because anybody can see how lovable you are. That's how this person has always perceived you. And they've always perceived you as somebody that goes to the beat of your own drum and stays in your own lane. You don't like to be focused on drama and like everybody else, but on your own lane. Like you're not competing with anybody, but you're just trying to better your life. So that's how this person has always seen you. So what has changed in their perspective of pile number 3? 10 of Cups. Also, this person has always seen you as somebody that's very smart, intelligent, charismatic. Yet you may have also had a hard time having other people understand you in communication. So to you, sometimes things are very easy for you to understand, but other people have had a hard time understanding you in your fullness, because I feel like you're a very multidimensional person. You have a lot of polarities to you as a person, a lot of contradictions. You're very mysterious to those that misunderstand you, but you're not meant to be understood. You're here to be experienced. And that's what I'm hearing from Spirit. You've also been working on yourself, working on healing your mental health. And you're not trying to be understood by others, but it would be nice to have people around you that you love that understand you, that you don't have to constantly explain yourself to. So this is how this person sees you. We have the Ace of Cups for how their perspective of you has changed, how they see you now, and the Queen of Wands. Interesting. So they still see you as the self-assured, bold, sunshine, independent energy going to the beat of your own drum. But they see you as somebody that now, what has changed is, how do I say this? How do I explain this? Like, this person has always seen you as somebody that would always have a comeback for something. So let's say, how I said that sassy, feisty energy, but in a good way. Let's say someone says something to you that's quite mean, and you always have a comeback. That is quite funny, actually. But now it's like you've changed a little bit, where you don't even care about giving that person a comeback. You just send them love. You don't even give them a reaction. Maybe you were always this like very passionate person where you express your emotions to the fullest. And now you've seen that some people just don't deserve that. Because some people will listen to your emotions, but they won't try to understand you. They won't try to understand your perspective or put themselves in your shoes. Now it's like, I don't care if you understand me or not. You don't even need to know how I feel, because it's pointless telling you, because I know you wouldn't even try to understand or grasp me. So maybe your attitude towards people has changed, where you're no longer giving them the reactions they want. You're no longer like trying to get people to understand you. You're just being yourself. And if someone wants to love you, then they can love you. If they don't, then okay. It's like you've become more sure of yourself, more secure in yourself, even than before. More self-assured, but not needing to prove it to others. So I hope that makes sense. You're still the same person you used to be, but just more grown and more expanded. You've just grown those parts of you more, expanded them more, polished them more. That's what Spirit's showing me clairvoyantly. So Spirit is showing me like a gemstone being polished. So it just means you're still the same person, not in a bad way. You haven't changed your values, who you are at the core level, but you've polished yourself more. You've become better, if that makes sense. So how this person's perspective of you has changed is, maybe in the past you used to be so focused on, yes, you used to be self-assured, but you were also very focused on what you perceived you couldn't do. Where maybe sometimes, like, if something didn't go your way, you would almost want to give up. But now there's this more determined, persistent energy. Like, I'm just gonna go for it and try. If it fails, I'll try again. It's like you're less focused on the outcome and more focused on putting yourself out there for the things you want in life. It's like they're seeing you now as somebody that's almost using your strengths and your weaknesses to help others within your destiny and purpose. So it's like maybe you're going towards your passions and using your hobbies, passions, and interests to help others and discover your own purpose, to make a difference in the world, slowly but surely, and to bring your beautiful sunshine energy to the world, because people need that. Their perspective of you has changed more over time, and how their perspective of you has changed is by getting to know you little by little, by unpeeling the layers of you little by little and understanding the storyline more of you. So imagine yourself as a character in a book, and this person is reading further into the book and starting to understand the plot more, starting to be like, oh, this is why this happened in the beginning. This is why this character said this in the beginning, because of this. Now it makes sense. So it's kind of like the more this person has gotten involved with you, has loved you more, the more they have spent time trying to understand you. Because like you, this person has also felt misunderstood, has also felt like people don't understand them. So they've made it their mission to fully understand you as you are. There's also something about this person seeing that energy within you previously, like me versus others. But now things have changed where you're starting to become more in harmony with others. What do I mean by that? Okay, so I relate to this, what Spirit is telling me, and it comes from this place where we are a little bit defensive because other people have maybe put us down or tried to humble us or make us feel insecure about ourselves, or other people have always tried to pick on us or be mean to us. And as a result of that, we create this coping mechanism where we become a little bit defensive, and we sort of like don't trust people, where we sort of have this guard up and we're like, me against the world because everybody has tried to hurt me. But then we start to encounter certain people we can trust that aren't attacking us, you know what I mean? And we get to have those defenses go down a little bit. And then we start to realize, okay, there are people in the world that do want to love us, that don't want to attack us, that we don't have to protect ourselves from in the first place. So why not surround ourselves with more people like that? Then I don't have to constantly be on the defense of, is this person going to hurt me? Are they going to backstab me? Are they going to do this to me? Instead, surrounding ourselves with more trustworthy and loving people that aren't going to do that. That isn't in their character or nature. Then we're less likely to experience that. Then we don't have to have that defensive nature up. And I completely relate. I'm still learning to deal with that. Because I can be a little bit defensive where sometimes I'm like, I read too much into things. Anyways, let's get your oracle cards. So, Spirit Guides of pile number 3. Spirit Guides of pile number 3. How has their perspective of pile 3 changed? So, it's not that you were... Don't take this the negative way. Don't take this message personally. So, I'm going to try to explain it to the best of my abilities. Going back to that previous message of what I said before, when people are constantly attacking us and making us feel a certain type of way, think of like a porcupine, right? When you go near a porcupine and it senses a threat or danger, it lets out its little sharp, prickly things. I don't know what they're called. Forgive me. Think of yourself like that porcupine, and every time you think someone's going to attack you, you let out your spikes. But then you start to surround yourself with safe people that aren't attacking you and aren't, threatening you or intentionally trying to get a reaction out of you, right? And you start to feel more safe and you allow people around you. Now you're less of like an onion and you're more of a cupcake. So that's not meant to sound mean in any way, but it's like maybe you had that onion energy before because you were sort of trying to protect yourself by not letting people get in. But now you're like a cupcake. You want to share that sweetness with others. Because you're no longer on the defense, if that makes sense. So it wasn't that you weren't sweet before. You were always a cupcake, but you had a protective layer around you to prevent you from getting hurt, if that makes sense. We have throat chakra with express your truth. We have freedom. And we have life force energy. So with the throat chakra and freedom, it's like you've become more free in the sense of expressing yourself. I think you've been getting to know yourself on a deeper level. You've been trying to find yourself. And you're now more free in a sense where this person views you as that type of person that isn't really too concerned about the reactions other people give you or the opinions of others, but more so focused on expressing yourself the way you want to. So if you want to dress a certain way, you dress a certain way without thinking, oh, am I being too much? Am I being extra? If you want to sing to the top of your lungs in your car and your windows open and people hear you, who cares what they think? I'm going to do it because it's fun. That's the type of energy I see. It's like you're no longer giving a F. That's what this person's seeing. That's how their perspective of you is changing because you yourself are becoming more free. And you're using your life force energy to move towards your passions, to create that change in the world, to help other people become more free and find themselves and express themselves more. Maybe you're inspiring others to do that too, because Queen of Wands energy is very inspiring to me, at least. So it's like you expressing yourself inspires others to do the same, to express themselves freely as their authentic version of themselves. And it's not always easy, especially if you have had a life where people have always made you feel outcasted for being unique. But now you're embracing that individuality you have, and naturally you're sharing that energy with others that also want to do the same, that also feel they relate. Because the truth is, we are all weird, unique, and different in our own ways. When you look at, for example, fruit, no fruit is exactly the same. No tree is exactly the same. No dog looks exactly the same, even if they're the same breed. So we all have our uniqueness, but a lot of the times we're scared of showing it to people, but you're becoming fearless. And that's how this person's perspective of you is changing. And that also affects your destiny, because you're putting yourself out there in your destiny to do with your purpose, and that is an integral stepping stone to being able to create change in the world. So it kind of goes hand in hand, these two energies. So this is what I see for you, pile 3. I really hope this reading resonated with you. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.